Okay, so in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to bring some noise sources into your project file. Okay, so I'm going to show you three different ways to get noise data into your project. There is a fourth as well, which is to import them directly from Excel, but that's covered in a separate tutorial. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go up to here and click on noise sources in the data tab, which brings up this window. This shows you all of the noise sources that you have in your project. Obviously I've got none in here at the moment. I'm going to click on add source to create a new noise source, and this brings up the main noise source window here. So what we can see first of all is we've got a source type that we can select. This allows us to choose whether it's environmental noise or building services noise or the other options. Give a reference for the source, the description of the source. We can also select the data type by checking on that box there. That will bring up the opportunity to change the number of bands that we're putting the data in. We can choose an acoustic index for it. We can say where the data has come from, whether it's manufacturer's data, measured or empirical. We can choose the data type, so whether it's sound power, sound pressure or sound intensity, and if it's sound pressure we can put a distance in for it. Okay, so the first source I'm going to bring in is going to come from the database. So if I click on the database button here, that will bring up a second window to allow me to choose the source from the database. So you can go through and select the database and the category and the model and the specifics, but by far the easiest way to get data from the database is just to click on search and then type in the name of the thing that you're looking for. So I've put in a fictional Mitsubishi condensing unit in the database, so you can see I've just typed in MI there and it's shown up. So if I double click on that, that will go straight into my noise source. You can also see it's filled out the rest of the information here in terms of the number of bands, acoustic index and that kind of thing, so I can't edit those anymore. Let's just call that Condo 1. Okay, the second noise source I'm going to bring in is going to be like an environmental one. So having done a survey in this field here, I'm going to create a noise source for it. Let's clip that image first of all. So we can clip that image using that button there, and that will bring that straight into our noise source. Let's call it MP1, and we'll give the description field 50 meters from road. Okay, let's just put in some noise levels for that. So again, you can tab through the text boxes by pressing the tab button. We can put in some the data types for that if we want to. We can say that it's LAQ noise levels. We can say that it's measured and it's a sound pressure level at say 15 meters or something like that from the road. Okay, and the third one, which I'm going to show you, just hide that again, is a noise source that's a fan noise source, for example, which we're going to get the noise levels for using empirical data. So when we select building services noise from the source type, it brings up the option here for fan empirical. So if we select that, that brings up this window here for putting in the empirical noise data. So what we'll do is we can also, now that we've got a building noise source, building services noise source there, we can select unit details and put in some details for that unit if we want to. I'm going to give it an air volume of, I don't know, let's say 5 meters cubed per second. And I'm also going to select the empirical fan sound power calc method as let's say pressure and volume, and we'll say, I don't know, 300 pascals static pressure, and let's say it's a centrifugal backward curve fan. So now you can see that's generated the noise levels for us there. So let's call that I don't know, EF01 or something, and say it's extract fan. Okay, so that's it. So now we have those three noise sources there for us to use in our project. The data from these is brought to the canvas by using a noise source component. So if I just drag a couple of those on there, we can say that would be the condensing unit. If it's a building services type source, we can use this one here, which will give us things like unit width, length, height and air volume in addition to the noise levels. Whereas if it's an environmental source like the MP1 that we put in, for example, it will show us just the sound, the noise levels from that source, and it will show us on the node label there as well that it's sound pressure at 50 meters to help us do our calculations. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Like I said, there is a separate tutorial that goes through importing data into the program from Excel, but that shows you there how to bring noise sources in the kind of the traditional way.